Super Bowl 60 tickets are selling quickly, and the average cost is higher than last year's in New Orleans.
$4,000, $6,000, $12,000.
The average ticket to Super Bowl 60 cost around $8,000. That's more than a month's rent in most American cities, more than a round-trip flight to Europe, more than what a lot of people spend on vacation in an entire year. But here's the part that actually explains the price. Tickets are expensive. It's that Super Bowl tickets, in the traditional sense, don't really exist. You can't buy them. Not from the NFL, not from a box office, not from any website on the day they go on sale. The system that determines who gets a Super Bowl ticket is one of the most tightly controlled distribution networks in professional sports. And the way it works is the single biggest reason you'll never attend one for less than a few $1,000s.
We're willing to pay a good amount of money. We're still waiting to see if tickets are going to go down. We'll make the final decision.
I will not pay $4,000. I know that I need to pay a premium, and I'm agree with, but I think it's to go at this level is too high.
To understand the price, you have to understand the allocation. The NFL controls every single ticket to the Super Bowl, everyone. For this year's game at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, the capacity was roughly 71,100 seats. Those seats were divided up months before anyone even knew which teams would be playing. The two competing teams each received 17.5% of the total tickets. That's about 12,450 per team. The host team, in this case the San Francisco 49ers, got 5%, roughly 3,550 tickets. Each of the remaining 29 teams in the league received 1.2%, which works out to about 850 tickets per team. And the NFL itself kept 25.2%, approximately 17,900 tickets. So right off the top, before a single fan has a chance to buy anything, the NFL and its teams have accounted for every seat in the stadium. Now, what happens to those tickets? The participating teams distribute theirs to players, coaches, front office staff, families, and sponsors. They're required to set aside at least 35% of their allotment for season ticket holders. But those fans don't just get to buy tickets. They enter a lottery. If they win, they can purchase tickets at face value, which this year started at $950 for the cheapest seats and went up to $8,500 for premium spots.
I will pay the price that I can get. It means there is no limit for me, from my side. It means then it's on my bucket list right now. It means that it can cost $2,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. I'm going to create maybe an extra mortgage on my house to get it done because it's kind of my bucket list from my side.
That sounds expensive, but compared to the secondary market, it's a bargain. The 29 non-participating teams get their 850 tickets each, and those mostly go to front office employees, owners, and corporate partners. Very few, if any, make it to fans. And the NFL's 25.2%, a large chunk, roughly 10,000 tickets, goes to on-location experiences, the league's official hospitality provider. They bundle those tickets into premium packages with pre-game parties, post-game field access, and concert events. Those packages start at several $1,000s and can run well past $12,000 per person. Another portion goes to media, corporate sponsors, and community programs. The league gives about 600 free tickets to first responders and youth coaches. The rest gets absorbed by the NFL's sprawling network of partners and obligations. The result is that virtually no tickets reach the general public at face value. Zero open sale, zero general admission. If you want to go, you're almost certainly buying on the secondary market, and that's where the economics go vertical. The secondary market for Super Bowl tickets is a pure supply and demand machine. Platforms like StubHub, SeatGeek, and TickPick connect buyers with people who already have tickets, usually season ticket holders who won a lottery and decided to flip their seats instead of attending. The resale platforms take a cut, and the prices are set by whatever the market will bear. For Super Bowl 60, the cheapest resale tickets were around $3,800. The average hovered around $8,000. Field level seats ran anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000, and VIP packages near the 50-yard line briefly topped $35,000 per ticket earlier in the week. To put that in perspective, the most expensive single ticket was roughly what the average American paid for a new car in 2025. But the prices fluctuate wildly depending on factors that have nothing to do with football. The city matters. Last year's game in New Orleans saw lower ticket prices partly because hotel costs in the area were so high that fewer out-of-town fans were willing to make the trip. The matchup matters. Games featuring massive fan bases or rivalry rematches drive prices up. Even weather and geography play a role. So why does anyone pay this much? Why hasn't the NFL simply printed more tickets, moved to a bigger stadium, or found some way to make the game more accessible? Because scarcity is the product. The Super Bowl isn't a football game. It's a cultural event that happens to have football in it, and its entire economic model depends on being exclusive. The NFL generates far more revenue from a 70,000 seat stadium full of people paying $8,000 per ticket than it would from a 150,000 seat stadium full of people paying $2,000. The math is simple, but the psychology is what makes it work. The harder something is to get, the more people want it. And the more people want it, the more they're willing to pay. This same logic applies to every layer of the Super Bowl's economy. A 30-second commercial during the broadcast cost $8 million this year.
Looking to spend big ad dollars on pop culture buzz for the second consecutive year. The average cost of a 30-second ad spot during the Super Bowl hitting $7 million. In
1967, that same slot cost $37,500, even adjusted for inflation.
30-second ad during Super Bowl I was $37,000, a 185 times jump.
That's a more than 200-fold increase. NBC sold out every available ad slot in September 2025, months before anyone knew which teams would be playing. Some brands paid over $10 million for premium placements near halftime. Total advertising revenue from the broadcast is expected to approach $600 million, all from a single 4-hour program. If breakdowns like this are your thing, subscribe. We cover stories like this every week. The advertising numbers explain something important about why ticket prices keep climbing. The Super Bowl has become one of the last places on Earth where you can reach over 100 million people at the same time. Last year's game drew 127.7 million viewers, the most watched broadcast in American television history.
Pushed the total to 123.7 million viewers. No other broadcast in American TV history, at least as measured by Nielsen, has drawn more people.
Nearly 44% of that audience came through streaming. In a media landscape where attention is fragmented across thousands of platforms and apps and feeds, the Super Bowl is one of the few events where an enormous portion of the country is all watching the same thing at the same moment. That kind of concentrated attention is almost impossible to manufacture anywhere else. Advertisers know it, the NFL knows it, and ticket holders know it too. That's why attending the Super Bowl in person has become a status symbol as much as a sporting experience. The Bay Area Host Committee estimated that Super Bowl 60 would generate between $370 and $630 million in economic activity across the region, fueled by over 90,000 visitors from outside the area. Hotels, restaurants, ride shares, merchandise vendors, pop-up events, corporate hospitality. The game itself is the center of gravity, but the economic impact radiates outward in every direction, and the trajectory doesn't suggest any of this is slowing down. Tickets to the first Super Bowl in 1967 cost $10. Adjusted for inflation, that's about $118 in today's money. The cheapest face value ticket this year was $950. On the secondary market, the floor was nearly 4 times that. Every year, the average resale price creeps higher. The experience gets more exclusive. The audience gets wealthier. The NFL has no incentive to change this. The scarcity isn't a bug in the system, it's the entire architecture. Every ticket accounted for before the teams are set. Every seat distributed through a network of teams, sponsors, partners, and lotteries designed to keep supply tight and prices climbing. The secondary market isn't a workaround. It's the intended point of entry for most fans, and as long as over 100 million people keep watching and the cultural gravity of the event keeps pulling in advertisers willing to pay $8 million for 30 seconds, the price of being in the room where it happens will keep going up. Whether that makes the Super Bowl the greatest spectacle in sports or the most perfectly engineered exercise in artificial scarcity probably depends on whether you can afford a ticket. YouTube's already picked your next one. It's on screen.